Welcome back. I spoke to Democratic Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz this week, just hours after the U.S. Supreme Court upheld, for the third time, the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare.
Well, I'm just overjoyed. I'm thrilled for the millions of Americans who were able to finally get coverage, access to health care, to make sure that when they were sick, they could afford to go to the doctor, to make sure that they weren't dying due to the lack of health, their ability to get health insurance coverage and seek health care when there was something wrong with them. It has been dramatic. Having access to affordable, quality health care has dramatically impacted the lives of millions of Americans. And once again, hopefully once and for all, the Supreme Court has affirmed that the Affordable Care Act is constitutional and that it will continue to be the law of the land.
Do you get the sense that that's really the message that Chief Justice Roberts and the others were sending, was that don't ask us anymore to do what if you want to try to pass a law in Congress to repeal it, that's your prerogative in the Congress, but don't ask the courts anymore. This is a settled matter for them.
What the legal experts are telling us is that really, if you read between the lines in the decision and the opinion that was offered, it essentially was the justices saying, if you don't want the Affordable Care Act, Congress, then it's your job to change it or repeal it or do something, but stop sending it to us.
One of the issues that we've been dealing with for the last few weeks on this show has been the gun violence that we've seen, particularly here in Miami-Dade County. Obviously, Broward not immune to that either, but particularly a lot of the violence that we've seen with regard to both assault weapons and other types of guns, mass shootings that have garnered public attention. Where does gun legislation sort of stand in Congress? It doesn't seem to have much legs to get to the Senate, but even something as simple as passing laws opposing, large capacity magazines from being distributed, that can't even be seen to get into law. Where are we at now?
Right. Where we are right now is in a very frustrating place. I mean, we just passed the anniversary that really should haunt every Republican who refuses to do something to stop the public health threat of gun violence, and that's the Pulse nightclub mass shooting. 49 lives were snuffed out through gun violence. And I know rank and file Republicans, average Republican voters, like most Americans, they actually favor sensible reforms like background checks, like safe storage. But once a Republican swears into office, they seem to hand their spine to the NRA for safe storage until they leave office. When it comes to gun safety, elected Republicans in Washington represent one of the purest concentrations of cowardice found anywhere on the planet. And then worse is you have Republicans like DeSantis who callously exploit this moment and then refuse to fund mental health relief for the victims' families. Our state, Jim, has $9 billion in reserves, but DeSantis vetoes $150,000 for mental health services for the victims of the Pulse nightclub massacre. I don't know how he and other Republicans can look the families in the eye and promise to always support those who were impacted by Pulse and then veto the money to take care of them. He lied. And voters don't forget that kind of cold mendacity. I don't think they will in Orlando.
Realistically, do Democrats have any chance of beating Ron DeSantis? His approval seems to be fairly high. The Republican Party is much better organized in the state of Florida than the Democratic Party. Is there any reason for Democrats to believe that they have a real shot at winning that seat?
Oh, of course. Of course we do.
Are you optimistic?
I am optimistic. If you look at the last gubernatorial election, our nominee lost that race by 0.33%. I think that was the margin. So this is a state that always has a robust gubernatorial election. I think it'll be close. Whoever ends up being our nominee will be very competitive. And part of the reason is that when it comes to the ideas put forward by Democrats, which include, for example, making sure that the almost 1 million Floridians who could have access to affordable health care through the Affordable Care Act, but don't because Ron DeSantis and the Republicans refuse to expand Medicaid, that would be taken care of by whoever a Democratic governor would be. Making sure that we don't ever again have to go through what we went through in the worst pandemic in 100 years would be solved by having a Democratic governor. Ron DeSantis made a terrible situation an absolute nightmare when he refused to take care of the unemployment crisis that was created by Rick Scott and made worse by Ron DeSantis. The fact that he kept the state open, ran the state like it was the Wild West, could care less about whether or not you had protections in place to keep people safe.
But just in fairness, do you not give the governor credit for his focus on nursing homes and ALFs? Did we not see fewer deaths there than were predicted, in part because the state aggressively shut down those places and kept the virus from spreading there as it did in New York and other states?
He didn't require testing for the ALF and nursing home employees, and there continued to be nursing home and ALF employees going into those facilities, infecting the patients there. And he didn't.
But I think but I do think the number of deaths that we saw in nursing homes and ALFs was far smaller than you would have predicted, given what you saw in New York and other places. I mean, I think you raise fair points on some of the other things about keeping the state open, but can you not give the governor any credit for the focus on nursing homes and ALFs?
No, Ron DeSantis doesn't deserve any credit at all for the way he handled the totality of this pandemic. There were thousands more people who died in our state, never mind the people that got COVID by being here due to his irresponsible handling of what was open and how COVID was allowed to run rampant because he would not responsibly allow local governments to manage their ability to control the spread of the virus, and they went home and infected people all across the state.
We'll be right back.